Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the I Made That podcast. I am so excited. Today we have on the fabulous Haj. He is a creative director and content curator who's worked with some of the craziest, biggest brands in the fashion industry. We are really blessed to have him here today. He's in the process of kind of becoming more public facing. So you may know him. He runs an incredibly popular Instagram page called Vizhuel. But in any case, he is here today to talk all things creativity and fashion with us. Welcome to the podcast, Haj.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I want to start with, for some of our listeners that might not be familiar with what you do, can you describe to us what you do?
Yeah, sure. I would say basically just a creative. I'm like a melting pot of different hats I wear. So mainly it's content curation, just coming up with an aesthetic for a brand and a signature look and advertising that through social media. So whether your aesthetic is an architectural or textures in some type of fabric, a color palette, abstract objects, and things of that matter. So I also, it includes photography, some videography, wardrobe styling, what type, I wouldn't say I would do makeup, but the type of makeup the girl would wear or guy. Visually, just coming up with curation for a brand that I'm working for, and just kind of all into one. Even some fashion designing. I mean, I don't sew or draw, but I know what looks good on pieces of clothing and how it should be worn and styled. So my, description of what I do is kind of overall creative director. So I would describe that as myself.
I love that. I think that that's something that you and I have kind of spoken about extensively, how the most authentic creatives, you can't really put a job title on what you do because there's no way to box in your creativity.
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
So I think, from my perspective, it's almost magical watching how you kind of take pieces and put them together. You have such a talent for creating these kind of creative narratives for people, whether that's like you're saying through mood boards or social media content or what people are wearing. And so I think it is really fun to see your niche style. You can tell if you've had your hands on something, you have such a personal touch to things that I really love. And it's fascinating to watch how that can translate across so many different things.
Agree. It kind of goes even graphic design. I'm dabbled into that because a lot of the posts that I post are a lot of the times is other creatives' work, but I kind of make it my own with the background, or I'll zoom into a hanger on the floor. So that's where my abstract mind comes in. And a lot of the creatives who usually most of the time I ask, could I use them? But sometimes they're like, oh, wow, where did you see this at? The picture you zoomed in on. I was like, oh, it's actually here in the corner on the floor, underneath some cover. And they're like, I never thought of it that way of being art. But yeah, that's my aesthetic. I like to find the unusual things and make it art.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously you have an eye for that. Like you're saying, you're kind of curating these things. You can really pull out the art within the art, which is really, really wonderful to be able to witness. So can you talk a little bit about what your journey has been thus far to finding your style or your kind of niche? Because, like we talked about, you have a very specific style that is definitely all your own. How did we get here?
It has been over. I've rebranded myself so many times. It's evolved over the past 14, 15 years of visual of me recreating things. It started around the time of James Turrell, of his exhibitions that are around the world, but the main one, the rotting crater in Arizona. That was around the time I think when Ye came out with the Jesus is King, and started like posting like some abstract architectural things. And even before then, it was construction sites or the rawness of a construction site, or molding like clay and form in melting glass and sediments of like rocks. So yeah, it just started with liking like open space too, and then evolved from that, and me curating that into an art form of me posting different backdrops and backgrounds of those abstract objects I took a picture of, or the architectural buildings, how the angle of where I took the picture. So that's where it evolved from, and me liking actual buildings and rawness of different objects.
That makes a lot of sense. I do see a lot of like architectural and geometric influences in your work, and then like those raw materials across so many different uses. So that is really fascinating. I think, again, kind of, your magic is looking at these things that we walk by every day and reframing them into art.
Yeah, it also came from researching too. I love researching different like blueprints of architectural buildings, of the foundations of what they're building, and the drawing of the feet, centimeters of how big for a space is, and even in math, very influenced by that, and calculus and algebraic operations. So chemistry. So it really like expand and evolve from different parts of like me being in school, or going to college, and getting those like fundamentals, but turning that still into like art form too. So it really comes from everywhere. But it just evolved into Vizhuel and posting abstract objects in that manner.
So I guess to kind of piggyback off of that, what does your creative process look like?
So it starts with researching. I would say, like, for right now, I'm really into like the Roman Empire. I was talking to a friend. His name is Wit, in Miami. He's also researching that as well. But mine was like the Roman Empire, as in like jewelry and garments and fashion. So I just, in biblical form. So I just started like researching and finding different like artifacts, and like during Easter, I found the actual clothing that Jesus wore when he was crucified, and the
Oh,
garment
wow.
had like stains of blood on it, and the robe that he wore. And I was looking at the garment, like how it was made with the stitching and the color palette, the texture, and from that, I was able to post like a story around that. So yeah, basically like my process just starts with everything is just researching. It goes from there to processing it with how I want it to look when I post it. Like if you've noticed, like on my grid, everything's like centered mostly. When I first started out, everything wasn't centered. It was kind of like as is. And then I was like, kind of want to curate it like more centered. So making sure the dimensions are in that four wall box. And that's how I came up with that aesthetic for Vizhuel. So, and after I process it, I like preview it. A lot of times I'll post and erase, so because I just want it like set diagonally in the middle, I don't want it too far to the left, to the right, or my pictures. But that would be like the process, my curation and creativity. And sometimes I have, if it's collaborative, I'll go back and forth with the other creative I'm collaborating with the post, making sure they like it as well too, and it's within their aesthetic too, but also mine. So, but yeah, that would be like the creative process of my art.
That I think that makes a lot of sense that you have this background of really appreciating like art, but also like math and these minute details that then kind of lead into how you curate. As you're saying, it's like, no, it has to be dead center. So you're probably over here doing algebra, figuring out the
Yeah.
exact location.
Yes, yes.
So when you're talking about collaborating, I know I kind of feel like you're just like my new internet bestie. And I feel like that's another kind of part of your magic is that you are really open to collaborate. You have a really excellent eye for finding people that are not only on the radar, but some of those artists and creatives that are a little bit under the radar as well, and using them to draw on inspiration. So can you talk me through some of like your collaborations, people that you have enjoyed working with, or just kind of what, again, like that process looks like when you go to approach working with somebody else?
But yeah, it goes with us conversing on what they're into and what they want to reach, like with their target audience. And to be honest, a lot of the things like they're into, I'm into as well too. So it kind of it's like natural connection. So I'm able to kind of finish their sentence without them finishing it because I don't know, I can like pick up another person's aesthetic too and like combine it and blend it. I like honestly, I can think what they're thinking. So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it goes into what is it that they want to post, and then we go back and forth about what I do with placement and the background, and like I can save with my friend Carrie Fagan, who I'm working with now, with his new brand that he's working with, Office Home. Basically, it's like a new way of creating formal wear. I think everything is like streetwear now, and I think we forget about like formal wear and like someone coming out of the office, and we both wanted to do this mainly from his standpoint. I was like, it would be cool to add traffic so into the curation of showing Office Home, because it goes hand in hand. I mean, getting transportation into getting to work. So my idea was like recording traffic from off of a highway in a safe place of emotion. And I thought that would be a great ad for him, for his brand. So, and then with that collaborative brand, and he was able to post it, and his audience, really like that abstract kind of marketing strategy and advertising, Office Home and transportation. Of course, like we also did like collaborative and uh, vintage technology, like the old computers and the old keyboard, taking like pictures of an old time clock. Like that goes into like research, and so that is like my process when collaborating, is really getting deep like in the other person's mind about what it is that they would want to showcase, and kind of outside of the box too. Because it is Office Home doesn't mean like it will have to only be office related. It's transportation, it's lunch break, it's, going to get your haircut or buying a suit. So I always want to showcase with Vizhuel, and we collaborate with people, is the process.
That makes a lot of sense because I think, again, when we go back to like your creative roots, it's looking at these materials or these things that are overlooked. So being able to work in collaboration with somebody and understand what their objective is, and then breaking that down into, okay, what are the pieces to this objective? So with Office Home, like you said, you're looking at like the lunch break, the transportation, not just being in the office in the most literal sense, but all of the minute pieces of going to the office that might be overlooked. So I think that's beautiful. That's really fascinating. Okay. What piece or product that you have produced do you think that you're most proud of?
It wasn't seen in the light of day, I don't believe, but the mood board I made for Yay, even though it was like kind of rushed and last minute. Um, but yeah, when I did a mood board for him, I really loved that. I'll probably post that one day. I'm proud of the photography work I've done. I haven't really showcased that yet. I did, but it was explicit. I did a photo shoot. It was called Mother Earth on a trail. I put all kind of earth tone body colors, body paint on this young lady I used, and she was nude, and I put a whole lot of earth tone colors on her. We're in the middle of a trail in a river. She was on top of a rock, and I just started like taking pictures of her posing, and I just called it Mother Earth, because just nature and everything, and the beauty of it. And I just wanted like a raw take on that. I was really excited about that photo shoot, and it came out very, very nice. And I did, another photo shoot I've done in a scrap yard in one of my friend's designs. Probably I'll post those again soon, but I was really proud of that. And the collaborative work I've done, like with Kerry Fagan, who he's worked with some big names too in the industry, and that's upcoming. And in the past as well too, helping him curate his page. Other influencers that I've collaborated with posts and ideas. So yeah, that would be like my main work that I'm very, very proud of.
That makes sense. For me, if I really think about it, a lot of my favorite work is more just like the for me kind of stuff. So I would love to see more of your photography. I think that could be a really, really beautiful avenue for you to explore, and again, make sense with your creativity.
Yeah, and I've held back with showing my photography because my photography is really niche. So it's not like me taking pictures of just a model, in a vacant place. It's more like Jurgen Taylor. His photography is like in the wilderness, or like he would take pictures of like a pill bottle and pills on the ground. He would take a picture of like someone getting dressed, the process of getting dressed. It's still like that process. And I like in the moment and movement pictures, blurry pictures. So it all like comes down to like my photography is very niche. So I would love to like showcase more of that, and for them to get more in my head about my creativity and how I see it through my photography.
So I think we talked a little bit about this when we were speaking about like your creative process, and even just like your style of photography. But who do you look to for inspiration?
I kind of name dropped earlier with Jurgen Taylor. I've always liked him ever since he did a photo shoot with Ye and Kim.
Oh, is this the where they're in the house and they have like the all like neutral clothes with the kids? Is that?
Oh, no, not that one. I forgot what photography was for that one. This one was her. He had like a suede burgundy hoodie with some grills on. It was like up close pictures, and then Kim she had a blonde bob cut, and she was like pictured on top of this dirt hill.
Yes. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about now.
It was just so raw, and I was like, wow, I really, really like that. It wasn't like some photo shoot with the backdrop or some glamorous place. It was just in this vacant rural area, and it was just beautiful. And ever since then, I've been a big fan of Jurgen Taylor. Um, I'm a huge fan of Older Magazine and how they take their pictures, just like really niche photographers and magazines. Purple Magazine, System Magazine. I've really gotten to like even interior magazines as an art journal. So yeah, things of that matter. So, and then of course with I've also been inspired by, of course, by Ye and Kim as well. Even the influencers who are not even, who are just coming out, like even the new brand called Prototype. I'm very inspired by them. The stylist Gadir, who's worked with Ye, I'm inspired by him as well. So I'm inspired about this whole culture of people coming out, even underground, and people that has been out like Jurgen Taylor, and then of course I love Axel Valverde for like interior design, Claudio Silverstein. So, but yeah, the list goes. I have a lot of people I'm inspired by.
I think that's a really fun collection of people because they all do such different things. You have like underground magazines, you have, people that are obviously really high profile in the music scene, but then you also have like interior designers. So again, I think that makes a lot of sense for how you approach these projects, that it would be such an eclectic combination of inspirations.
Agree. Yes. Yeah. It's like I'm very well rounded when it comes to being influenced. Like I was just looking at one of my followers' sites, Noah, and I can't remember his Instagram panel, but he has a beautiful way of showing his art too. So I'm just like inspired by even like the young generation. Like Virgil Abloh said that, you know, it's the young generation that will like carry on to the future, but it's very much inspired by them, and including Virgil Abloh. He was a huge influence.
I think he should be on everybody's mood board, to be honest.
Yes, he should. He made his mark on like fashion and architecture, and I still think he doesn't get the credit enough. It's like he did so much, and I'm always moved by him. I still even listen to I like listen to like lectures too from creative. So his is still my number one like inspiration too. So
I've heard so many wonderful stories about him, and just I think for me, when you meet people that really love what they do, they're so willing to share knowledge. And I think that he embodied that to like another level. I mean, I've heard stories about like a 19-year-old kid writing into him and like receiving a job. So he was able to go intern with them and then, you know, continue on in his own right. But just always being down to collaborate and hear people out. And it's a wonderful legacy to leave behind. I think we definitely lost him too soon, but
I agree.
The amount that he was able to create in that short period of time is just absolutely astounding.
Yeah, I was watching one of his videos where he was helping this young designer and giving him like advice, you know, ideas and reviewing his looks. And he was like sitting down with someone who wasn't even known and just giving him just the best advice. And I'm like, wow, it just said a lot.
Yeah, I think that's really special and something that I don't think you always see. You know, I have had the opportunity to work with some like pretty high profile people and even like larger companies. And sometimes people get a little bit on their high horse, but I do truly see the people that are the most talented have that mentality where they sit down and talk to you like, you know, you're their equal. And so I think that that is like a really special talent.
Yes. Yep, I agree.
Awesome. Well, let's chit chat real quick about, you know, kind of bringing it back to this idea of creativity is kind of boundless. But what are the different hats that you feel like you wear as a creative professional? Because you are doing all these different things. What are some of those different kind of tasks that you feel like you have to cover?
I would say it starts with like my Instagram feed. I follow so many creative people. Always follow and inspired by people who are doing similar with me within interior and with me doing in fashion as well too. Usually like my followers, like with one of them, it depends like with their look and everything too. So a lot of times when I look at them, oh, you know, this would be a great model for my upcoming t-shirt line that I'm doing. Some with their art that I love, I'll DM them. So a lot of outreach, I would say, and I'll sometimes say I would love to collaborate with you on a post. A lot of times it depends, like going to events, I'll meet some people there, so networking through there. But yeah, I'm doing like everything, outreach, and when it comes to like finding certain people to collaborate with, and or even for like for clientele for myself, for a business I can see myself helping them and work for.
And I think that you are, I mean, personally, you're the best that I know at that. Like I said, like you're kind of like the internet bestie. I feel like you do a great job at having genuine connections with people, which I think is really a lost art this day and age. But again, I think this is kind of part of your magic. You love what you do so much that it comes across when you are reaching out to people and kind of fostering those collaborations and conversations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I don't know, over time, at first I was just really shy with that. And then I just ended up getting over that by just me being comfortable with and confident of what I like, and networking people, like networking in the public, like really helped me get over like reaching out with that. I think that's how I gained a lot more followers by reaching out and posting certain things and collaborating, posting. And anyone that DM me, a lot of people will reach out to me too and tell me that what they like and, how can I like work with you and treating people like and being nice. I think that is another superpower I have because I just don't believe in like treating people any kind of way. My biggest thing is like treating everyone like respectable and nice and how I would want to be treated. They always say like the nice guy finished last, but with me, I think that is the number one thing in building relationships. I just feel honored by anyone that I've come across that wanted to either help me get to the next level or me help them. But it's all about interaction with people too. So I would say that would be my number one thing. My main hat that I do wear is being approachable. I don't know. I love what I do, and this is a business like I want to be in, but I want to change how people are too in this business in a way. Like I hear there's a lot of fake people and people who aren't for you, but I don't know. I just feel like I want to make it a community where everyone can help out each other too, and not everyone for themselves.
Yeah, I think you do a really good job at kind of curating a community along with your actual art. And I think that that is something that's really starting to come back and something that we've honestly been missing through this kind of like age of the internet. I think we all got super excited to be online and all the things you could do online. And we started missing out on a lot of those like in-person interactions. And I think that, people like you are really fostering us into that next era of we're online, but like we're also making real relationships outside of that as well.
Exactly. And that's what I want to do is create a community, a creative community. Um, in the long run, I do want to have like my own crew of different creatives collaborating with each other. Because that's like my whole vision for Vizhuel. I don't know if you heard about the store Colette that was in Paris, but it was like one of my favorite stores and actually very inspired by them. Colette was basically a store. It was a hub of creatives and showcasing like in fashion and art and interior and music. They showcased that by collaborating with creatives, by showcasing their work within their store. And I want to do the same for Visual with this young generation, with this community, my own community. I want to have a store that showcases like the new Colette. And you'll see that on my handle, on my profile, like Visual is the new Colette. Because I ultimately want Visual to showcase that as a store, a flagship store, and pop-ups across the world too. So
Oh, that would be so fun. I know you and I talk about Art Basel all the time. I can see that starting out as kind of like an immersive experience at Art Basel, like an installation, and then branching out from there. So I'm totally bought into this. I love this idea.
Thank you. Thanks.
So, okay, I'm going to throw kind of one out of left field. Who would be your dream client? Who is at the top of your list that you're like, I would love to either collaborate with them, I would love to style them, I would love to be their business partner, like could be any of those.
It would definitely be Kim. I know she has like a stylist already, so I'm not trying to put her out of work.
Right. We're not stepping on toes, but
No, not stepping on toes or anything, just putting it out there. But yeah, I would love to work with her, a different approach and style. There are like so many other people as well too. I would also like to work with Axel Vivorde, with Toledo Ando. He's a architect. As far as like architecture wise, I would say with Toledo Ando and Claudio Silverstein and Axel Vivorde. I would have to say Rick Owens. I know he has a fashion brand, but I have a new look for him.
I love that. You're like, okay, just shooting my shot with Rick Owens. I've got something new for you.
Yeah, with Rick Owens. He's a fashion designer, curated the whole world, but there's a style I would love for him to
Well, and I feel like he's jumping into kind of like a new era too.
Yeah,
So
me too. I saw one of his new things. I think he got a tattoo on his foot, but it was called So Cunt with Tyrone. I love his style too, by the way. His friend. Yeah, those are like the main people I would wanna like work with and help with style and even back like with Kim, she has an architectural mind too with interior design too. I would love to collaborate with her on like furniture. To be honest, I'll leave the style part out of it, but because I know she has a stylist, but I would love to collaborate with her on some interior because she has a great eye for that. So yeah, I would with that with her with that, and I think that's like one of the main people I would love to work with.
all right. So if Rick Owens or Kim Kardashian, if y'all are listening, Haj is open and ready to collaborate. He's got ideas, so hit him up.
Yes.
Um, okay, last one. I love to ask people this. What is the wildest story that you can tell me on this podcast? I'm not even going to narrow it down to anything, just wild times. Hit me with your best shot.
Wow, I have a lot of those. A lot of wild things. My craziest wild story would be I had a photo shoot in Miami. I was doing my t-shirts. I think this was like 2 years ago. And I was in bed with the model. Not like that. But um,
Okay.
she's a good friend. She's one of my sister's friends, and I was just the same one that modeled with me for the Mother Earth photo shoot. And I was in bed, and she had hair. She had really long hair and everything. Beautiful girl, and she was like, "You have any ideas of a new shoot you want to do or anything?" And I was like, "Actually, I do. I want to take some pictures of you wearing my shirt around Miami Design District." But this look is different. She's like, okay, do you want this nude or do you want? I said, no, you can keep your clothes on for this one. I do. I want you to cut off your hair for this one. So she was like, you want me to cut my hair off? I was like, yeah, I want you to cut your hair off. She was like, okay. So she got up. She started cutting her hair off.
Oh my
And she
God.
cut it off, her real hair off. I was looking, I was like, wow, I thought I was gonna have to like pay her. I don't know. Like I was like, I'm gonna have to like pull the strings out and try to get her to cut her hair. But she got up, got the scissors, started cutting her hair, and then she got the clippers and started, doing a buzz cut. I wanted a buzz cut. She was like, okay, well, can you help me like get the back? I can't see the back. So I helped her shave her head. And then after that, I was like, I actually want your hair pink. Like I want it like pink. So I was going for kind of like a not geisha, but kind of like a Japanese style, but with a buzz cut and nude makeup and just really neon color hair. So we were going to do green, but you know, she would probably look like a tennis ball. So I didn't do the green, so we ended up doing pink. So I sprayed it pink and a neon pink. And we didn't have time to do the dye. I've never done, dye before. So I was like, we don't have time for that. We gotta do this today. So we went to the store and got some spray paint.
Oh my goodness.
And we got the spray paint and came back and I just sprayed her hair down and then we just went to the shoot. The color started fading because of the heat and humidity in Miami. So we brought the spray bottle and the spray can, and we were just going around Miami Design District, spray painting our hair and taking pictures everywhere. And then actually, people thought she was Kaylani because she looked like Kaylani. So people were stopping us. It was like, oh my God, is that Kaylani? Can I take a picture with you? People started like following us and taking pictures throughout Miami Design District. And so we were like outside of Fendi, and it's funny because people were like wanted us to come into the store and get things, and so we kind of just use it to our advantage, and but it helped. So maybe that's another photo shoot I haven't showed anyone. I might post that now that I brought that up, but that was one of the craziest events. Like it was a huge crowd following us. Like it's not her, but you know. So
You're
yeah,
like, but I'll sign something for you.
yeah. So we kind of like played with it. It was funny, but that was one of my crazy stories, I would say, in a photo shoot.
That sounds wild. I definitely need to see these photos. I mean, From like a creative standpoint, that sounds like a really fun premise for a photo shoot in general. And then knowing kind of like the story of all the craziness that's going on in the background, I feel like that's got to add to the energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, Haj, my dear, I had such a fun time talking with you today. I definitely want to give you a moment to plug your socials, your website, anything else you want people to know. Where can we find you?
Yes, my website will be up soon. You can check that out at visual.com. That's Vizhuel.com. You can email me as well for inquiries, visual@mail.com. Or you can DM me at my Instagram handle at visual. And yeah, those are ways you can reach me if you want to collaborate on a post or help me have me help you with your brand. Yeah, just shoot me a DM and we can go from there.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We will be back again next week, Wednesday, with a new episode, a new creative interview, and we'll see you then.
Yes, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming.